The following program is paid for by RCP Productions Incorporated.
Thank you for joining us. The need to promote a more positive image of Israel and its people has never been greater. Just as brand names play a critical role in the success of companies, they're also important for nations. A change in a country's image can have very deep impact on its economy. Ambassador Ido Aharoni was the head of Israel's brand management team in Jerusalem, and he believes it's absolutely crucial for Israel to be proactive in improving its image, as it also relates to Israel's national security. We'll learn more about this subject following these messages.
You know you need CoQ10 and fish oil for your heart. You also know you need a multivitamin to maintain your health. But what you don't know is that an award-winning CoQ10, fish oil, and multivitamin are all made by Life Extension. Why settle for less than the power of science, the power of life, the power of Life Extension?
At Gardens Wellness Center, we provide a full menu of holistic services under one roof. Services to heal the body through chiropractic care, acupuncture, and colon hydrotherapy, and services to heal the mind through hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, and life coaching. We practice functional and Chinese medicine and offer a full herbal pharmacy. Visit us today and take charge of your health.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful, a miracle. Oh, it was beautiful, magical. And then they showed me a world where I could be so dependable. Oh, intellectual, cynical.
Find magic again. Sprout by HP. With Intel RealSense technology inside, now you can bend the rules of creativity outside.
With us now is Ambassador Ido Aharoni. A pleasure to have you with us again, sir.
Pleasure to be with you again, Richard.
Dramatic times since our last conversations. What's your view on the situation currently in the ever-changing Middle East?
Well, I think we're looking at an unprecedented situation in terms of the threats Israel is facing. We are perhaps looking at the beginning of the undoing of the Sykes-Picot agreements of 1916, which means that those agreements that completely ignored tribal and religious affiliations are being undone now by a wave of historical, if not biblical, proportion events. And I refer in the first place to the very, very alarming, disturbing process of the disintegration of the Arab nation state as we know it. Currently, about 8 of the 23 members of the Arab League are in a state of dysfunctional position, which means that they are failed states. What does it mean to be a failed state? It's the situation of Syria, it's the situation of Iraq, it's the situation of Libya, it's the situation of many other, Yemen, Sudan. Entities that are unable to provide the most basic needs to its own citizens. It's a very alarming development. If you combine that with the second thing that is happening simultaneously, which is the deepening and the widening of the inter-Islamic rift between Sunnis and Shiites, then you have a recipe for a very long period of instability. I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I think we're looking at a wave of instability, bloodshed, danger, and strife that will probably last a generation or two. So this is not something that is going to be over tomorrow. This is something that is going to stay with us for a long time, unfortunately, and there are going to be many victims.
What incredible changes occur in the Middle East. Unbelievable. So 100 years after Sykes-Picot, we suddenly have total chaos in the Middle East again. How does this affect Israel's destiny and survival?
Well, luckily, and I say it, of course, ironically and cynically, luckily the Arab world gave us a great gift back in 1945. They hoped that that gift would do us away, but what happened, in fact, as a result of this gift gave us the ability to defend ourselves and to develop in other areas. And that I'm referring to, of course, to the famous Arab economic boycott of 1945. That boycott that pushed Israel out of Asia, that boycott that was monitored out of Damascus, that boycott that continued more forcefully even after 48 and after 67 and after 73 and after the 75 United Nations infamous resolution that equated Zionism with racism. That very Arab economic boycott that many, many entities, governments as well as corporations complied with actually was a great gift. Why? Because it forced Israel to develop new markets in Europe, in North America, in Asia. It forced Israel to base its economy on export, and it forced Israel to base its economy on knowledge. Knowledge is something that cannot be defeated. Knowledge has no boundaries. Knowledge is something that today is widely recognized as the #1 human commodity. And therefore, when you have a tiny nation as Israel that has a solid foundation of a knowledge-based economy, then it cannot be defeated by any military. Because the power, the national security of our people is in the brains of our people. And therefore, indirectly, we are best positioned of all the nations in our region to handle the dramatic occurrences of our region because of the things I just mentioned, and also because of the fact that we were very successfully able to sail through the stormy waters of the economic meltdown of 2008. Let me just give you and the viewers a couple of numbers. In 1973, there were only 3.5 million Israelis. Today, we're 8.5 million. In 1973, the GDP per capita per annum in Israel was 50% of the combined GDP of all of our immediate neighbors. Today, it's 3 times the size of the GDP of all of our all of our neighbors combined. And I'll tell you more than that, the GDP per capita went up 10 times since 1973. Israel's GNP in 1973 was about $13 billion. Today, it's over $300 billion. Look what's happening to our neighbors all this time. So we are really in a good position. What we need to do in light of the emanating danger from the Middle East, from the East, is to continue to be on the alert, to monitor the situation very closely, and to make sure that we maintain the military competitive edge and qualitative edge over our adversaries and our detractors.
It's all absolutely fascinating, astonishing. Also, the fact that Israel is singled out for criticism. Some products from Israel are mislabeled. In Europe, there's this anti-Semitism. And Israel's skill in promoting itself is under a lot of criticism. Technology on one side is fantastic, phenomenal, leading edge in the world. Why does Israel not promote itself more effectively?
Well, you're asking the right question. Unfortunately, there are too many people in our community that think that the task at hand is to win some imaginary debate. I happen to think that the real task is to build relationships. And the real task is to build relationships with people that matter, with groups that matter, with influencers. And the real task is to bring them to Israel to see the place for themselves, with no indoctrination and with no censorship and with no propaganda. We have a great place, and we must never sell our place short by constantly highlighting its problems. I believe that we need to engage in a different kind of conversation about Israel, one that centers around Israel's contributions, one that centers around Israel's highlights, Israel's advantages, Israel's quality. And we have a great product at hand. Israel is a great place. It's nothing short of a miracle. And we need to celebrate that place. Rather than complain about what's not good with it, we should highlight its positives.
Ambassador, it's been a privilege and honor to have you on the show again.
Thank you for having me.
I'll be right back.
Some say the world should boycott Israel. If you're one of them, you should know this would be a mission impossible in the West. That's because Israeli technology is everywhere. When you get up in the morning, get into your car and drive to work, you probably use Waze to avoid traffic. Waze was developed in Israel. If your eyes stray from the road for a moment, you will promptly be warned by your mobile eye safety system, another Israeli development. Your workday is stressing you out. Your smartwatch will monitor your pulse and remind you to slow things down a little, thanks to an electro-optic sensor developed in Israel. Your laptop most probably runs on a processor developed in Intel, Israel. Do you use the internet? Next time you visit Facebook and Google or use Microsoft products, remember they all use network components developed by Mellanox. From Israel, do you transfer data on memory sticks? That technology was invented in Israel. Those family and friend photos you snap with your mobile camera, the camera was developed in Israel. Enjoy getting help from Google Complete? You guessed right, that too was developed in Israel. And last but not least, next year, Israel Aerospace Industries, from Israel, and Facebook will launch a satellite that will provide internet connection in remote areas where even water is not available.
You know you need CoQ10 and fish oil for your heart. You also know you need a multivitamin to maintain your health. But what you don't know is that an award-winning CoQ10, fish oil, and multivitamin are all made by Life Extension. Why settle for less than the power of science, the power of life, the power of Life Extension?
At Gardens Wellness Center, we provide a full menu of holistic services under one roof. Services to heal the body through chiropractic care, acupuncture, and colon hydrotherapy, and services to heal the mind through hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, and life coaching. We practice functional and Chinese medicine and offer a full herbal pharmacy. Visit us today and take charge of your health.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. A miracle, oh it was beautiful, magical. And then they showed me a world where I could be so dependable. Oh, intellectual, cynical.
Find magic again. Sprout by HP. With Intel RealSense technology inside, now you can bend the rules of creativity outside.